How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, Black Lives Matter, All Cops Are Bastards, and Trans Rights Supporting Channel. If you don't like that, you can get the fuck out of here. This is Season 3, Episode 12. What is it? The Inside Man. The Inside Man. I mean, that is the quintessential spy title. But who is our Inside Man? Maybe just Talbot? I don't, it could be literal, our inside man. I don't know what that would mean, but it could be literal. I don't know. Talbot feels weird to me for an inside man sort of thing, but that's the only thing I can think of. Like, if we're going for somebody has secretly been a spy the whole time, I don't know who it could be, honestly. At this point, like, it's not that I think everybody is too good of a person to be a spy. I just think, who would it be? No guesses other than it's just a weird title for Talbot, the reason. Actually, really quickly, I didn't give my bet in the discussion for what is going to happen to Guerra. So my bet is that he is going to die here because I don't think that they actually need him. I think it is just going to be as simple as the Inhuman ward sucks him up and absorbs his power. And it can maybe also do that power. Maybe he has like multiple abilities, but maybe it's, I don't know. Because how is the sand connected to the, maybe it's just sand going inside of the body. But no, the fingers turned into sand, so maybe he does have multiple abilities from any Inhuman that he consumes. That's maybe my guess. Okay, but yeah, I think Guerra is going to die as well. Let's actually start now. If you want to get the full length, check it out on Patreon below for $4. Okay, got a lot to talk about this episode. Lot to talk about. Let us start off with Hydra, with Malik, and with the Inhuman and everything going on there. So, we get a slight, tiny flashback to on the alien planet after Will had died, and when the Hydra Inhuman took over Ward's body, and we can see now that it is literal tentacles. Like, it's not just like a slug sort of thing, it's not like multiple things inside him or whatever, make him up. It's not sand, in the form of a slug or something. It is like a tentacle, like a tentacled beast, a Hydra. And it does seem like, it can only have, I think now it has to be confirmed at this point, he can only have one host. He can't have like multiple different bodies. He's not going to have like an undead Hydra army or anything. He did turn them into just skeletons and into some sort of goop. Didn't look like human goop. And even like, again, I rewatched it and all the goop is like right in the center. None of the skeletons have the gloop on them. They are very, very red, which I'm not sure if a skeleton would be red. I don't know if that's true or not. I actually don't know enough about the human body to know if it would be red or if it would be a different sort of color, like more yellow. I do think human goo all put together, if you condensed all of a human down to just goo, it would probably be more yellow looking, but not, that's so mustardy, it's so honey looking. I do think that it's something else. I don't think that it's just he reduced the humans down to a goop. I think it is he consumed the humans, everything but the bones, and then he did something else that is the goop. Like maybe it's like a shedding of a skin sort of, it's him growing stronger in some way. In the same way that Mr. Eyes did the thing at him, his power at him, and we saw whatever that was. I struggled so long trying to come up with a guess for what that was, anything at all, and I can't. I have no guess. I don't know. I don't know what I was even looking at. What the fuck was I seeing? It's like, the only thing I can equate it to is like having a ton of makeup caked on that he's just like, no, you didn't freeze me, you freezed my makeup. I don't know. That's like, it's the only thing I think of, some sort of like outer layer, but that's not even what it was. It was a like 3D-ish sort of thing. that was like misty, and it's the same sort of like misty sand sort of thing that he did at the end of last episode, that he did towards Mr. Eyes this episode. Did we get a name for Mr. Eyes? I don't think we did. I checked, but I couldn't come across one unless they just offhandedly said it last episode and I didn't write it down. But yeah, I do really like Mr. Eyes, how like calm he was in that situation where he just like looked over, froze both of them and then tried to freeze the big guy. Very, very smooth. Didn't wasn't like trying to rush or anything. Just like calmly do this, and it is something he has to activate. It's not just he looks at you and that's what happens. But yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with the sand mist sort of thing that this Inhuman is doing. Maybe he has sort of like Terrigenesis or something, but no, because that wouldn't explain the human thing there. I don't know. Also, did the Hydra Inhuman know that he couldn't eat Inhumans already? Because it really seemed like he had discovered that. Like he's just discovering that now. But isn't that something that he should already know? Like, didn't they send Inhumans through the portal as well? Maybe not. But I thought they had said they sent like one or two Inhumans through. But I guess they had only ever sent humans through. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But, yeah, he did, like, the mist thing that he did to Gira and to Mr. Eyes, and then the fact that he did it to all the humans makes me think that it's all the same thing. Like, whatever that mist was what he did to the humans. That's his way of consuming them, maybe. And when he did it to Gira and to Mr. Eyes, he was like, oh, I can't consume Inhumans. But why would he just learn that then? I don't know. Oh, confusion, but which will all get explained in due time. Now, towards the other half of this episode with the Hydra stuff, the more the council stuff, genius play with Malik, absolutely genius play. I can finally start taking him seriously. I feel like, he has been a very big player and he has been competent, but I just wasn't really that into his character. He was like even Whitehall. I was more into his character than Malik, and that said, Whitehall was very, like, I liked Whitehall on screen, but he wasn't someone I thought about when he wasn't on screen. And Malik was the same way. Malik, somebody that I didn't really ever think about when he wasn't on screen, but now this really amps him up a lot more as like, okay, that's a big play right there. That's a movie play. Like, that's crazy. And now he's got, even more connections. The Anton Petrov, the Russian guy, he seems like, he is just being influenced by Hydra, but at the same time, at the very least, he did call the Inhumans creatures, and then he said he wanted to make a sanctuary for them, which I don't, he says he has obstacles in his own country, so I think that really he's trying to bring a bunch of Inhumans to his country to cause some sort of civil disrest, which would help him in some way. I don't think he actually gives a shit about the sanctuary in any way, even with the, Hydra influencing him to use that into their own needs. I think even that aside, he, from the very beginning wasn't planning on it being an actual sanctuary. He just wanted a ton of people with powers in his country, so either he could use them, like he could, kidnap them and use them, or so he could, just have them cause unrest in his own country, and then, him be able to be like, well, now I'll get rid of this Inhuman scourge, even though he was the one who brought it in. I don't know what his plan is, but, he clearly has some other ulterior motives there. And almost every single person in the council did. Every single person in the council is exactly who you would expect of the council. It's, the exact, like, even, like, Anton Petrov is a good example of, like, the, we can have, like, the extremely obvious, like, oh, they're the ones we're supposed to hate. They're the ones who are like, oh, let's just kill all the Inhumans. But then you also have, like, the people like Anton Petrov who are, the people who are on the surface like, oh yes, I want to make a sanctuary, but then all their actual policies are harming those people. They say, oh, I support this group, and then clearly everything they have ever done shows that they clearly do not and will never. Very good job of showing that at the very least. Yeah, in a subtle way, as always. S.H.I.E.L.D. is never going to be too upfront with any of its messages, but I'll take what I can get. And now, yeah, Hunter and Bobby are on the plane with Malik. They are heading towards where he is heading towards, they are probably going to see Ward, and Hunter's probably going to try some shit. If they both died here through Ward, meh. What was lost? What was lost? Two extremely big racists, or speciesists, or whatever you want to call them, really not going to be that much. Like, there's so many other series where you can have a very abrasive character, or even a character like Sawyer from Lost is very outright extremely racist, but throughout the course of the series, with the more he hangs around diverse people, the better he gets, and he clearly changes. Whereas with Hunter and Bobby, they started out as characters I really liked, and the show has just been trying to make them so awful. Like, I don't understand what the show is trying to do with Hunter and Bobby. Like, is the show trying to make me hate them? I don't understand, because it's different from a lot of the other things, like, like Daisy or Mac or something, where they do a lot of fucked up shit, but I realize that I am probably in the minority of people who are, thinking that, or, having a problem with it, or whatever. Whereas, like, Hunter and Bobby, I can't, the show feels like it's trying to say, we want you to hate these people and these characters. Like, I don't think their characters are that interesting right now. In, I would say season 3 onwards. Season 2, I really liked both of them a lot. And at the beginning of season 3, I was interested in them, but I don't know where we're going with this. And maybe I will, change my mind in retrospective. Maybe I will enjoy their characters a lot more in retrospective. But right now, in the moment, as a live reaction, I don't see what the fuck the show is trying to, where the show is trying to take these characters. It just feels like we're kind of just, meandering around. I don't know. I guess the best way I'm trying to say it is, it feels kind of like forced. It feels like we're just trying to use Bobby and Hunter as a mouthpiece for shitty people, when I don't think it was in their character to be this shitty before, but, I don't know. We'll see later on. Maybe I'll, in retrospect, change my mind. I really, really enjoyed all the bait and switches we got with Talbot throughout the entire episode, and also very, excited to again see him coming back for a major role in an episode. I hope we continue to do this. Obviously, this is not the last we're going to see of Talbot, but I hope we continue to do this thing where Talbot is the central character of the episode, like we did back with the whole, like, Ball and the, what was his name? The guy who was the right hand to Whitehall, Sunil Bakshi. Like, that whole episode was fantastic. Really loved that episode. The one where we were infiltrating Talbot's, like, home base, his military base. That one was fantastic as well. Every time Talbot is the main focus, it's great, because Talbot he is so multifaceted. He is the ultimate boomer. He is the most politically incorrect person that you could possibly find without being, like, Hunter is not like, that at all. He's not like the most politically incorrect. He is just very outwardly racist or speciesist or whatever. I keep saying racist, but I mean speciesist. Then we have, is it a species? Because they are human. So, is it a species? It is just another race of human, essentially. So, I guess it kind of is just racism. But either way, Talbot has, he has the big family life aspect of it, but at the same time, it is, he is a military guy, and his wife is not a military wife. And I do like that Carla was 100% right in, what she said, that he put his career over his family, and that cost his family harm. The fact that he took the ATCU job, and he knew if he took this ATCU job, he knows about Hydra, he knows about all this stuff, he knows about what S.H.I.E.L.D. gets into, and he knows that he is the head of the ATCU only in name, he knows he's working with Coulson, he knows what's going on here, and he took it anyway, despite knowing that Hydra takes families. So, yeah, he has that family aspect, but he has that very, like, yeah, he's a bad family man. No shit. He's General fucking Talbot. He's the worst. And I loved all the other red herring moments throughout the episode, but the ones with Talbot were the best. Because it was so shocking to see Talbot be so competent for once. He is such a nincompoop that we have just gotten to, he is so high in command just because we as in Coulson. I should stop saying we for S.H.I.E.L.D. because I certainly don't want to be a part of that we. But, because S.H.I.E.L.D. has gotten him to the position he's at, he's now just this buffoon in a high position, which is really just anyone in a high position. And, I don't know. I just loved it. The whole situation where Coulson and him were locked in the room together. It took so long to do anything about that situation, but Malik, that was a bit. I guess he was just. I don't know. That just seemed like a poor play on Malik. Poor play. And didn't even stay there to watch. But what can you do? It's a show. You got to have some level of plot armor. The whole putting Talbot in the formal dress wear and everything was so clearly just like one of the writers going, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we just had Talbot wear this? And they went, yeah, but then what about the rest of the episode? Just have him change out of it as soon as the ball is done. As soon as not the ball, but the meeting thing was done. Because nobody else changed. Nobody else was dressed in anything different. Everybody was in a suit but him. I'm assuming it was probably just Coulson wanting to make him look bad. Okay, let's talk about Creel. I'm so glad that Creel is back. Absolutely love Creel. His powers are so cool. When I think of powered individuals in the MCU, ones that aren't Inhumans, when I think of just humans that are powered, Creel is one of the first ones that comes to mind. He has such a cool power, was so underutilized, but even with how it is utilized in the show, it's how am I trying to put this? You don't have to do very much special effects to make it look very, very cool. It's one of the easiest things that S.H.I.E.L.D. can do to get me hyped without having to go over the top with something. And I'm surprised they don't utilize it more because of that. But maybe now they are going to be utilizing it a lot more. Maybe Creel will be around more often now that he's Talbot's sort of right-hand man. And this episode, as every episode from now on seems to be, every episode just seems to be showing how much excessive force S.H.I.E.L.D. can get away with. Creel is a bad person. And I'm going to go somewhere way different than you think with this later, so stick with me. But they had the upper hand. They were able to assess the situation, but they did not. They were the ones who attacked first. They immediately went after him. He was just, trailing Talbot, making sure nothing happened to him. And then he sees Lincoln coming at him. Lincoln attack. Well, actually, he didn't see Lincoln comes at him from behind and attacks him. And I'm sure the first thing going through his mind is oh, Hydra's attacking me. But even then, all he does is sort of defend himself from Lincoln. He doesn't attack Lincoln back. He just sort of throws him away from him. And then, to be fair, he probably would continue to attack him. But that's right when, Coulson starts shooting at him. He sees it's Coulson and then doesn't attack anymore. He's just oh, this is S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm going to stop attacking. And then they try to kill him. But. All that said, well, actually, first, small tangent. There was a dude working on a car, right next to this fight, and he just did not recognize it at all. What the heck? Was he deaf? I don't know. But, all that said, I was talking about that from S.H.I.E.L.D.'s perspective, of not wanting to, kill Creel. So, that's very overstepping their bounds and using a lot of excessive force when they didn't want to kill him. But, after thinking it over, I was originally on Lincoln's side, and I'm back on Lincoln's side. Everybody deserves the right to change. Absolutely. Agree with Coulson. Everybody deserves a second chance. And Creel has gotten his, and shown that he has not changed. He's gone from working with a corrupt mob to kill people, to now working with the military, basically doing the same. If he was working on his own, then I would give him the benefit of the doubt. I would say, okay, yeah, everybody deserves a second chance. Let's let him, live his life as it is. He has faced his crimes by now. But, you know, if he's just going to be working for another corrupt organization, then he clearly hasn't learned anything at all. So, you know, I'm with Lincoln. Go ahead, kill him. I don't care. He's clearly not going to change for the better in any way. And yeah, Creel is incredibly a smart fighter, even if it seems like he's pretty slow at times. But maybe that was just the mind control, you know, that made him seem a lot slower. He still seems like a bit of a creep, but it's not necessarily being slow. And yeah, about the Creel and Hunter stuff, again, don't really have anything to say about the Hunter side of things. Have no sympathy for Hunter, so I don't have anything to say about that. You know, I'm glad that May said, yeah, we're not friends, fuck you. But, yeah, aside from that, don't really have anything to say. Now, into the big old meat and potatoes here of the episode. The obelisk made Creel now into a living cure, but it is a vaccine, not a cure. It can't reverse, it can only prevent. So, yeah, I mean, if there was a way to reverse Terrigenesis, if there was a way to go through Terrigenesis and then say, I don't like this, I want to go back, and reverse it, that I would be down for. But a vaccine, as Daisy said, is just going to be used to, you know, stop all Inhumans, you know, just be given to the public as a whole to stop all Inhumans from being Inhumans. The gay panic, you know, equivalent is getting so clearer and clearer. I will say that is the one thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing a good job of. That is the one message that I would say they are really hitting the nail on the head and not trying to make it subtle in the slightest at all. And yeah, you know, tying into the whole, propaganda of, not everybody wants to be gay, and, you know, being gay it should be a choice, and, you know, what about the people who are actively going around giving people AIDS? How can we allow gay people to exist when there are some bad gay people with a fatal STD? I mean, Inhumans and their powers are the AIDS, like, so much. It is the AIDS equivalent. It is the everybody being so terrified of it, like, a human can't just, you know, like, oh no, this gay man with AIDS is so terrifying because it's a fatal STD, when, you know, that guy just has a knife that can stab you and kill you too, you know? Like, as Daisy said, humans are just as dangerous. And then Bobby wants to pull the fucking, but we understand humans. We understand humans. Big wrong there. Big old wrong. We definitely understand Inhumans about as much as we understand humans. But, yeah, I can't get over every episode. I mean, it's very realistic. You know, I'm not, like, saying, stop doing it. But, it's, you know, the bringing up how much the Inhumans being like, but there's bad Inhumans and they have powers that can hurt me. This argument will never stop being so, like, by nature ridiculous. Like, it's not even something that I feel the need to argue, because it's so just surface level idiotic. It is, you know, being afraid of gays. It is just being afraid of the people with powers. You are literally just saying, like, I expect that you will kill me. It is, oh no, there's a black guy right there, I'm going to cross the street and walk on the other side. You know, it is just the, I am terrified they are going to kill me. It has nothing to do, you know, them having powers is, it doesn't mean anything. It's regardless. They're not using the power. And if they do, that is irrelevant to them having the power. It's the same thing as somebody having a gun using the gun, somebody having a knife and using the knife, or somebody having a fucking bowl of acid and using the bowl of acid. You know, no matter what, it is gonna be a thing, and people are gonna use that thing, and we're not gonna understand why people want to go use that thing, or we're gonna understand it to a degree. You know, when people say we don't understand it, we kind of understand it. It's just more of a, like, you know, we understand why Lash did what he did. You know, it's not how did this happen? We understand it. He's, you know, he wanted to kill people. But, yeah, it's more of a, like, I don't know where I'm going with any of this. Just that it's ridiculous. This whole logic is ridiculous. Now, Talking about Lash, they brought up Lash as well. Lincoln, would Andrew have liked to have a chance? Yes. Is that because he went through Awakening in secrecy? Yes. Does that mean that every Inhuman who goes through Awakening with other Inhumans would be fine with being an Inhuman? Probably not. No, I'm fine saying that. But, a vaccine is removing that choice entirely. The choice is either stay as you are and never find out who you really are, or Terrigenesis. You're not really given the choice of being like, oh, I can choose between my real self and just staying as I am, because you don't know who your real self is, and if you do, you can't use the vaccine anymore. So it's not a real choice. Again, if it reversed the effects of Terrigenesis, it'd be a different story, but vaccine is a no-go. And, the whole, like, oh, technically it is a disease. I studied all this shit. I'm so glad that Daisy called him out on the semantic bullshit. The whole playing devil's advocate, the whole, oh, well, technically, actually, by definition, people trying so desperately to categorize things so they don't have to empathize with them in any way. Very glad that Daisy called him out in that bullshit. It's the whole pseudoscience thing of, like, I found some correlation here that, through definition, not through any actual science, but just through a definition, so thus, that's science. And, so, Lincoln and, his inhumanness has been a big topic since he has been around. And again, tying it into the whole finding your identity of, like, Daisy is someone who was like, oh, I'm straight my entire life, and then suddenly she's like, someone is like, oh, have you ever considered the fact that you might be gay? And then she's like, oh, I guess maybe I am. And then all her parents are like, it's okay to be gay. And then she has all these people around her that sort of accepted it and sort of helped her through it and everything, and it was other people, sort of realizing it before she even realized it herself, and then her coming to terms with it. Whereas Lincoln is someone who, assumingly, came to terms with it himself first. I don't know if we've said that he's gone through Terrigenesis at Afterlife or not. Wait, yeah, he would have to. He would have to. Duh. What am I talking about? So yeah, he is someone though that I don't know if they found him first or how would he find out otherwise. So I guess he was around people who, accepted him. And as he said, it was, not stressful there. It was fine there. But here in the human world in the human world, I mean, it's the same world. It's not like they were in a different dimension. But, there with people, actually oppressing him a lot more and people constantly talking on an earpiece about how much they hate his race and everything, it can get a lot worse. And Daisy is able to just, Bobby can just be like, oh, well, I don't like Inhumans. I mean, she didn't say that, but I don't remember what exact wording her was, but, her bullshit racism from earlier in the episode, and Daisy just being like, yeah, well, fuck you. Daisy's able to easily just be like, fuck you, and move on. Whereas, Lincoln is not so easily able to do that. He gets way too aggressive if he does, so he tries to repress it a bit. And Lincoln, doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what he doesn't know how he feels as an Inhuman, is I guess the best way to put it. Like, he's like, yeah, I am an Inhuman, but what does that mean? Like, Daisy is like, I am an Inhuman, and I use my powers to stop bad people. I look at it as this great thing that is helping me. It is who I am. I feel so much more like myself now. Whereas Lincoln is like, I felt like myself when I was around other people like me, but now that I'm around here and everybody's telling me that I shouldn't be like this and that it's bad for me to be like this and that other people like me are bad, maybe I don't like myself. Maybe I shouldn't be like this. The whole line also of the not sure the field thing is my thing. What is your thing? Not sure. Maybe you. Tying into the whole, like, Lincoln has the character design of a bisexual. If there is a Hollywood CEO being like, we need to put a bisexual into our series, Lincoln is the character design they come up with. So it was honestly very, surprising that he has been so completely, like, straight this entire time. But, I think that line was definitely implying that as well. And the room stuff as well. He is someone who is struggling with his identity a lot. And, the Daisy thing as well. He's not sure, he likes Daisy. He's not even sure if he likes women, I think. But, we'll see as it goes on. But that's the vibe I'm getting from Lincoln, is that he's just very unsure about himself in a lot of regards, in every regard. And, the whole, what was his name? I don't remember what his name. Lincoln's friend, the guy who, he like accidentally got killed. That too. All Lincoln's friends are dead, and the woman who helped him come through Terrigenesis is dead and was a master evil person, like a super villain. Master. I was trying to go for master villain instead of super villain. What the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, he's gone through a lot of terrible shit, and I was saying something before that, and I don't remember where I was going with it. His human friend that he got, killed through, not because of him, not like he killed him, but through everything that's going on around him, he died. That relationship might have been, more than just a Alcoholics Anonymous sort of thing. Or at the very least, in the writer's room it was supposed to be, and they changed it. Because they were like, it is Alcoholics Anonymous, but again, Lincoln is so young, and for him to have gone through Alcoholics Anonymous already, and for them to, really kind of slide it under a radar as a reason, really feels like the relationship between those two characters was supposed to be different, and they changed it very kind of like last minute. But, who knows? Who knows? We also, Lincoln has an assessment coming up at the Cocoon. I hope that goes well. I don't, I'm not worried about anything, but just the fact they brought it up, I'm just like, I don't know. Hope nothing goes wrong. I don't know what would, but I don't know. Lastly, we brought up the Watchdogs as another, supremacist group. Kill the aliens, take back the planet, anti-Inhumans, specifically. Now, Daisy called them trolls, but I feel like that's just bad writing. She also called them trolls on the internet, which, again, I feel like is bad writing, because it feels like this is going to be an actual threat that we're going to face sometime soon. And that's not really what I assume we're going to get from them in the show is not what you would refer to as trolling. So I could be wrong, because we haven't seen anything from them yet, and we could never even talk about them. They could never come up, but how likely is that? Very unlikely. They're capital T, capital W, the Watchdogs. They're coming up. But yeah, assumingly they're going to be some people that we have to actually fight. Their little slogan is "Kill the aliens, take back the planet." Now, are they just online saying that? Are they just a hate group online, or are they actually out there in the streets trying to kill aliens? I don't know, but I assume the latter. I assume they are going to be out there actually trying to kill them, and we're going to have to go try and stop them. And yeah, that's not something you would call trolling. That's like calling the KKK trolls. They're killing innocent people. That's a terrorist group. That's not trolls. I don't really care much about this plot line. I can tell that it's coming up soon, which is why I wanted to bring it up, but I don't really care much about it, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not have a very good track record with this kind of stuff. Back in Season 1 with the human supremacist group, with the Asgardian stuff, it's just, it didn't make any sense at all in their own in-universe logic, or as a take on groups like them. So, it would be nice if the Watchdogs had some actual good social commentary, but I highly doubt they're going to do that. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again tries to shy away from a lot of that sort of stuff, so it just ends up very, generic and just sort of you could have done again, the human supremacist group in Season 1 could have done a interesting thing with the more, white supremacy angle and everything, but they didn't. It was just kind of why are we doing this? What's the point? I don't know. But, yeah, that is it for this episode. A hell of a lot of crazy shit was going down. Really, the highlight of the episode absolutely was the Daisy and Lincoln stuff, for sure. Really, really enjoying all the Inhuman stuff. I'll see you guys for the next one. Until then, get the fuck out of here.